I'm really privileged to have a name that I found out later that it reflects what I want to do. So with my initials, Hanane Benkhallouk, HB, I'm a human being who wants to humanize business.
There is a process that you have, that your mind has done basically throughout these years. And one of the big impact in this process was COVID, when of course it has devastated a lot of balance, fake maybe balances.
No, actually mental well-being matters. Being really attentive to how people feel, taking care of our health, even physical, mental. We started being more spiritual as well, more caring about others. So that was the opportunity there to make people aware that the way we used to define success or performance is really changing, because any performance or any success that would come at the expense of the personal well-being is not really worth it.
You go to therapy and then you want to just unwind from stress, but at the same time you're just moaning, and then you're thinking that everything falls over you, and you don't want to feel accountable for anything.
Absolutely. And sometimes we have blind spots. You might tell me something about myself. I'm like, no, I don't think I'm like that. But then I can pause and say, wait a second. If she sees it, let me see which angle. Maybe it's a blind spot. I'm like this. I don't see it.
Today's going to be very interesting. I have a wonderful woman. I'm going to have a beautiful conversation, and it is going to be, as always, straightforward, because as you guys know, I truly appreciate the fact that you keep on adding yourself to the channel, because now we are we passed 8,000 subscribers, so 2,000 subscribers or more in only 1 week. So I think you start appreciating the fact that we want to be straightforward, we want to be bold, we want to be direct, and there is no gimmick. There is always, the aim to pass the message that success doesn't reside in facade or gimmick or lack of authenticity. Is staying authentic and staying real, where the method can really have its own sparkle. So today we're going to welcome Hanane Benkhallouk.
Yes, I'm really happy to be here, and it's so good to reconnect after.
And it's so beautiful.
I think it's 5 years. Thank you.
More.
Yeah, or 6. 6 years. Yeah. It was before COVID. Let's put it this way. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember one thing about you that I thought, I love this personality, when you told me, you were saying something about your life and your decisions and your job. We're going to reveal soon. And then you said, well, if someone asks me, what would you choose, to be married or to be right? And then you said, well, to be right, for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you remember this?
Yes, I remember. I say there is a saying that says you could either be married or be right. Yes.
This is something that I really treasure in my mind.
Because if you want to stay married, it means that you cannot always be right. So if you choose to be right, means there will be conflict. So yeah, it's a choice to make, and to make it work. You cannot always be right, because you have to meet people halfway.
This is absolutely true. I can't agree more with that, honestly. And would you mind telling the audience who you are, even if many people know you already?
You see, I don't like to name myself with the titles of what I do, but really, I'm really privileged to have a name that I found out later that it reflects what I want to do. So with my initials, Hanane Benkhallouk, HB, I'm a human being who wants to humanize business and bring humanity back, so that we don't let the automation or everything that's going so fast make us forget the essence of who we are. So I really want to define myself as somebody who wants to change the game. So I would say I'm a game changer, I'm a change maker, I'm a problem solver. Also, I aspire to be. but my focus is to bring humanity to all the other areas of life, including business.
How would you talk about the entire values of the humanity and the rights of women, especially, I think?
Yeah, you see, I evolved in that. So before, I used to work a lot. I still do. But when I started seeing that I'm being labeled like a feminist or somebody who wants to empower women, I thought, no, this is not really what I want to do. All I want to do is bridge gaps, whatever they are. And it happened that gaps, like the gender gap, was prominent, is still prominent. So I was focusing on bridging that gap. But then I realized later that we have so many imbalances. And that's why I evolved my work and started this initiative called Tawazin, which means balance in Arabic. So it's how can we bring more balance to people, more balance to workplaces, which the gender gap is just one element of it. We need more inclusive workplaces. We need workplaces that allow others to be more authentic, to be themselves, to feel that they want to wake up on a Monday and feel excited to go to work. And we want to also have balanced societies, and of course, without forgetting the planet. So I work with these 4 pillars, but I look at them as one holistic system. We cannot talk about environment when our people are burnt out. It just doesn't make sense to me. So we need to start by looking at the human beings first, as even if we are in business and we deal with our customers, we need to look at them as human beings. So we need to be transparent with them. They need to know what we are charging them. They need to know. We need to make available options for them that honors their individuality.
So all of this is super interesting. And when did this start? Like, what brought you to this point?
You see, there isn't one specific incident. I think it's throughout the journey, you see there are different milestones, different incidents, different events, like special events that make that spark. I think there is need. Yeah, personal and also at work. I mean, I have 20 years of experience working in the corporates, in the corporate and also with government NGOs. I was privileged that I lived in different countries. I come from Morocco, I lived in the US, and I lived here in the UAE as well so many years. So that's this exposure, cross-industry, cross-continent, cross-sectors as well, because I worked in finance, I worked in retail, I worked in non-for-profit. So across that, I felt that wherever I went, there was something missing in the way we were dealing with whether all the stakeholders, be it beneficiaries, employees, partners, customers. I just felt that I was listening to many messages from employees, for example, listening to when people complain about things, everybody's burnout, everybody feels that they're just in the grind, So all of these, it's just an accumulation. And then when COVID happened, and we were all locked down and everybody was talking about how we were living imbalanced lives. And then we started thinking, now that we're locked down, we feel for the people who are living through blockade, for example, who can't travel. And we started saying the sky is not polluted now. So all of that made me feel, oh my God, there are so many imbalances that we need to take care of. It's not just a gender balance that is an issue. And that's exactly what made me feel, okay, I think this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, contribute to bridging balance, planting the seeds of change, which is the title of my book, in order to humanize business. So this is like my line.
We are going to talk about your book as well. I'm super excited about that. And so if I understood well, there is a process that you have, that your mind has done basically throughout these years. And one of the big impact in this process was COVID, when, of course, it has devastated a lot of, fake maybe balances of exactly. people. So where do you think it would be the opportunity to grab from the COVID event?
Well, I would just talk about myself. For me, what it taught me, that no success is worth own well-being the self well-being or the self-care. So that's the opportunity there. I don't know if I misunderstood your question. You mean opportunity as in work, or what kind of opportunity?
The opportunity that a situation like COVID, that we, in general, we see as a negative thing for our life.
Yes.
What instead, I think you as a visionary, you have seen as an opportunity of growth for ourselves.
Absolutely. Because you see, I'll tell you something. When I used to talk about well-being at the corporate office, or taking care and making happiness at work, people used to look at me and say, "You're dreaming. This is business," and all of these words of humanizing business, for example, nobody was accepting that. They just couldn't see the link. But COVID, I could see the before and after. Even the message, when I used to talk about these things, or even on my website, so many times I was told to change the wording on my website because it was too soft. And it was not hardcore business. And then after COVID, we started thinking, oh, there are more priorities than just that rat race and looking and like, oh, we need to be successful. And suddenly we started thinking about, no, actually, mental well-being matters. Being really attentive to how people feel, taking care of our health, even physical, mental. We started being more spiritual as well, more caring about others. So that was the opportunity there to make people aware that the way we used to define success or performance is really changing, because any performance or any success that would come at the expense of the personal well-being is not really worth it.
This is incredible. This is exactly what I think. Yeah. And you express it in the best of the ways. You have your company?
Yes, I do.
And so your company's focus is on implementing exactly this value.
Absolutely.
To pass the message that humanizing and, let's say, evaluating more and giving more value to the human side of ourselves, rather than, well, it is important that the horse has to ride a certain way.
Of course.
But...
you see, the thing is, when I say humanize, I'm not talking about being humanitarian in the sense of, but we need to make business. Actually, humanizing business can make us even more profitable, because when you look at your people as humans, when you align their job with their values, what they stand for, they're going to give more. When they're happy, they're going to give more. Same for customers. When you are transparent with them, when you don't treat them as just a number, when you allow them to, I'm just talking about even the simplest thing, even retail, when you allow them to have options, to have customization, when you understand that their personal life, maybe they have issues, maybe their mothers, their parents, they don't have time, and you give them options that align with their life personally, not just, okay, you're just a customer, you pay and leave. That actually can create more business. So when I talk about humanizing, I'm only talking about treating all your stakeholders as humans, understanding what is their desire, what are their pains, what do they want to achieve, etc. I'll give you an example. When you call the bank now, or any other telecom company, for example, and you have this machine talking to you, giving you an option, how frustrating can that be?
Very much.
There you go. So that's what I mean. Humanizing would be like, give me the option to talk to a human being, for example.
Well, in the end, I end up talking to a human being, but it takes me every time, especially, for example, there is this anti-fraud thing, which is absolutely understandable because it's a preventive thing. Yeah. It's absolutely important. But every time that I need to place an advertisement through Facebook, they block it. Mm-hmm. They decline a transaction. So every time I have to call the number, and then I have to spend, I think, maybe 5 minutes until then the automatic voice stops. And because it appears to be a problem according to this robot, and then they put me in contact with a human being. Yeah. But after 5 minutes, 3 minutes maybe.
That's better. Some companies don't allow that at all. I know, I don't want to mention names, but some companies just like there are the options and keeps repeating. So that's what I mean. It's really understanding, even when you digitize, okay, you do digitize, and this is what I work on. I mean, we work on the human side of transformation with companies. So you want to digitize, you want to have AI, great, because everybody's having that. Yes, we need to keep relevant. We need to remain relevant. We need to adapt. But do you do that just based on the trendiest technology, or do you understand how it's going to impact the journey of even of your customers? Maybe it will make it more complicated. Sometimes it's easier to not have a digitized customer journey, for example. What are the touch points you're working on? Are you doing it based on the assumptions because you benchmark with competitors, or do you really understand your stakeholders, how this will probably impact their day-to-day, impact their experience with you before you just go and digitize? So this is what I mean by humanizing. Always put in the human side at the center of all the decisions. Even when you want to include the tax or the AI or whatever is trendy that will make their life better, not just because everybody's doing it, we do it.
So it's not putting the human beings in substitution, let's say, not putting again the focus on human beings rather than digitalization, whatever, AI or whatever. It's how can they coordinate?
Yes, exactly.
And create
balance.
a beautiful balance.
Again, how do we balance? Exactly. So we're talking now it's like it's the talk of town. AI this, AI that, which is great. But AI, we shouldn't forget, it should be a tool that's supposed to help us give us time, create time, do the automated stuff so that we can give time for our people, for ourselves, to do the creative stuff, or to do the things that matter. But if it becomes just a burden that's complicating the work and making people work even more and get more burnt out or lose their job, for example, then it's not really helping us.
And this is at any level, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I can also talk about my business, and I mean, I have a team of people working for the marketing, but the content and the reels, because I clearly can't do this by myself. There is a part of AI, but if I let the AI do whatever the job is, where my message, where my authenticity resides, how do I deliver?
Absolutely, it's choosing. What you see, I talk a lot about that. For example, okay, AI can do the analytics, can automate things, can reply to emails, can do all of that, but it cannot feel, it cannot tell a story, it cannot sense, and that's the word that I use a lot. What about ethics?
It cannot empathize.
It cannot empathize, exactly. So to a certain extent, it can simulate some emotions, for example, but the ethics, the sensing, the making sure who to include in decision, the bias, are we sure? Because it's actually input-output. If the input is biased, then the output will be biased. So it's how do we keep that balance to know what can we digitize and what we need to keep human. I even created a concept of the future equation of leadership. What I talk about, we always talk about IQ, which is the smartness. This is how we measure smartness of people. And now we move to, before it was only IQ. You're smart, we test you, you get the job, for example, or this is how we categorize you or evaluate you. Then we started talking about EQ, the emotional intelligence, how well you regulate your emotions. But I feel moving forward, we will need what I called HQ, the human quotient.
Oh, wow.
Yes, the human quotient. And these are the human skills that at least I hope, I think, I believe that AI can never mimic, which is, like I said, the ethics, the inclusion, the sensing of others, that intuition. That is not, it's a new intelligence. When you just feel that things are right or not, when you hesitate. So all of these are human skills, which I think the new generation will need to learn, because we're going to be teaching them AI in school, but we don't want to forget to teach them to be human, because that will become a skill to be taught. Trust me.
You know, this opens so many things, so many windows in my brain, because I don't know, I think we had already a conversation about what I've included in my program in terms of studying the potential of the human being.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And how can I support as a coach to be able to help the person to deliver an amazing outcome for his or her life. And I studied what Shirzad Shamin, which is an amazing coach, has told us, which is the PQ, which I think is quite related to the HQ, what you say. It's just branding it in a different way. And it basically, this stands for positive intelligence.
Nice.
Which is the percentage of time where the mind plays the role as your ally rather than your enemy, and the mind that is actually sabotaging you.
Yes.
What do you think about this?
I think it's a lot of growth has to start there by silencing that saboteur, as we call. Yeah. So because positive intelligence makes you see possibilities, makes you creative. And actually, positivity is on the list of mindset when I talk about innovation, because that's something else I work on, how we create culture of innovation at the workplace. And the mindset I talk about, of course, we talk about we need to learn from failure, we need to have creative confidence, but I have positivity there because you cannot be an innovator if you're not positive. Think about it. If you can't imagine, you will always find, oh, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. No, it's going to be too costly. It's not going to work for the culture. It's going to take too many resources. But when you're positive, we always ask, what if it works? Yeah, actually, I think I want to give it a try. So definitely, positive intelligence for me is linked to growth, whether it's self-growth, professional growth, personal growth. And I go even beyond that. It is mandatory to be positive if you want to be an innovator.
And if I may add, being positive doesn't mean being naive or being, okay, I'm not going to go into the possible negative outcome. I don't want to look into this. This is avoiding. It's not about being positive. What you're saying is being, let the mind be creative and let the mind be giving you the possibility to explore more options and maybe find the opportunity in the bad situation.
I'll give you the best quote that I use for that. Everybody, you and everybody who's listening to us knows Thomas Edison, of course, right? Thomas Edison said, this is the kind of positivity I talk about, and I use it a lot. He says, I didn't fail. I succeeded in finding 10,000 ways that didn't work. Just imagine that, if he gave up. He was trying for 10,000, but he never said, oh, this is a failure, I'm not going to continue. So that's the kind, he wasn't sure it's going to work, but he was positive to the point that even the failure, and this is what we want to teach the kids, you did not fail, you just succeeded at finding what's not working so that you know what you need to do better.
Oh, let's go a little bit here.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this, of course, you talk about business, you talk about, you have corporate as clients, but imagine every person working for a corporate is also a mom or a dad.
Yeah, of course.
And before being this is a man and a woman, and before that is human being.
And that's exactly what I mean. I don't want to look at the corporate. That's why even this hesitation when you said, I know that it's corporate. No, that's exactly what I want to change. We are looking at them as humans. We need to know where they come from. We need to know their story, not just their job description. This is exactly what I mean.
This can help employees to also take advantage of their learning for creating better generations.
Oh, absolutely.
New employees.
Yes, exactly. And I always say that good leaders don't create followers. They create other leaders. They make other leaders. That's a good leader. They don't think about people under them as followers, but they invest in them. Their job is to make sure that everybody working with them will aspire to become even better than them. You need to plant those seeds for them to become better than you. That's a good leader.
This is amazing. I would like to ask you one thing that is related to this, but more, let's say, many clients of mine bring up the topic that their boss is demanding a lot on their abilities. Let's say they have a budget and they always have to exceed the budget because the boss put his or her focus on horses that are generate more revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And they tend to, let's say, avoid the areas that need to be developed.
Mm-hmm.
And they stress a lot these managers that have, by consequence, also they put a stress on their teams that are not, they are paid 1/10 or maybe way less than the CEO. So how would you deal with imagine a client, a corporate that comes to you and says, look, we have this problem. We have a terrible imbalance in between people who are super achieving and exceeding the budget, and in the other areas there is an impairment. So how would this humanization project can?
Well, we hear that all the time. I mean, this is some of the challenges that always me and the team are called to sort, and this is where we bring in the SEEDS framework. So we need to go in and sense, and every letter, now you'll see what SEEDS mean. We go in and sense what's happening, because when we receive what the situation is, it might be assumptions. So the first thing we ask is to talk to different people, at least a representative sample, and we do it in our own way, how we ask the questions to really sense what's going on. We observe. We are allowed to spend some time to really see what's going on. And when we ask the question, we look at what kind of answers we're getting. It gives us what's being said in the corridor, what are the frustrations, etc. So you really see, what is this coming from? Is it the system? Is it how the company is really measuring the performance? At the end of the day, everything has to be role modeled from top down. So we first talk to everyone to understand where is this discrepancy coming from. Then we engage. That's the second letter. So we sense, then we engage, which means we'll put everybody around one table, and in a way we do like a team coaching. So it's not just one by one, but really the team, we ask the question that makes them conflict, which is needed. When you conflict means that you are, or what we call in some team concepts, is they storm together, so that we understand where is really the gap, and then we empower. So that's the third letter. We empower them with the tools, with the learning, what they need to. I mean, if we see that if the C-level needs coaching, then this is what we suggest. We ask the question, and then we develop together. We co-create. So that's the D. We co-create an action plan that takes into consideration, because we would give a report first. This is what we feel is happening, and then we need be that commitment of the company or the leadership to make the change. Nothing is going to happen. But if they called somebody from the outside, that means that they are willing to change. So we develop that action plan, and then we sustain it. So we put an action plan where inside there, like we find change agents, so that we don't come when we leave, there's somebody who is sustaining that impact that will happen. So this is the only way it will happen. It's a journey of transformation. It's not a quick fix, and we don't work with companies that need quick fixes.
Exactly, and I totally see the fact that the brainstorming and co-creating, amongst the people at different roles at different levels, doesn't matter who calls the help. Who calls for the help. The most challenging part of it, my opinion, and let's see what you think about it, is the ego side. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm going to give you an example about that. That's why I said, if they're not willing, I'm not saying that we have a magic wand. We just have tools, and if you're not willing to change or transform things, nothing's going to happen. They say you can bring the horse to the water, but you can't force him to drink. So again, I have an example of a client, a big client, and I'm not going to say names, obviously, who called us because they wanted to see how inclusive
and diverse is the company, because that's another part, because it's everything is part of the culture I work on. So diversity and inclusion, we do a lot of inclusive leadership programs and unconscious bias and all of that. So they called us, and obviously we say, they're like, oh, we want to see how diverse we are. We want to run a program on diversity inclusion. Maybe it was just sent to them from the headquarters abroad, and they wanted to do the same. Like, okay, so we dealt with the Middle East headquarters here. And obviously we said, okay, fine, then we need to speak to your people. We don't do anything that we're not allowed to speak to the people. You can't call me, Lucia, and tell me, I want you to give my team a program because I think they need communication skills. I'm like, that's what you think. We need to talk to them in our own way to find out exactly what they need. Maybe you just assumed, okay? So we did focus groups. We sent survey to certain level, and then we did a focus group with a couple of middle managers over there, and we just listened. We're just asking questions. We're being very neutral. We took their answers, and then we worked on the report. And there was the day where we present in and say, well, these are what 76%, let's say, of your employees said that the company is not really inclusive. 58, I'm just saying whatever. Mm-hmm. Like there was a number. They say that there is a dominance of a certain nationality, which was his nationality, the CEO. And he went crazy on us. This cannot be true. We were voted the best employer. I'm like,
can I ask you a question?
Yeah. Imagine.
And exactly because of this reason, how different will be the outcome if Hanan talks singularly to this person rather than within a team?
Oh, it wasn't the team. It wasn't with the team. No, he was alone. And he didn't accept it. That's why I'm talking about this, because yes, we do have challenges with clients, but this is the worst that happened in my whole journey of even working before even I became consultant, to see somebody who was so not acceptant of what, instead of saying, well, let's see where this is coming from. That was just our first part. We said, we're not going to give you an action plan until we see what's the problem. And he could not accept this. So you're hiring consultants to validate what you think. And this is the problem. That's why I mean, if you're not willing, and I'm saying that to every leader, if you're not willing to
say
listen,
that again, because I love it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of leaders or CEOs, they call consultants just to validate their point, to anchor. They want us to be biased. This is what I call an anchor bias. And say, he thinks it's a great employee and everybody's happy. So they hire us to come and say, well, everything is fine. You're doing a great job.
As if when you go to therapy and then you want to just unwind from stress, but at the same time, you're just moaning, and then you're thinking that everything falls over you, and you don't want to feel accountable for anything.
Absolutely. And sometimes we have blind spots. You know, you might tell me something about myself. I'm like, no, I don't think I'm like that. But then I can pause and say, wait a second. If she sees it, let me see which angle. Maybe it's a blind spot. I'm like this. I don't see it. So if you're not willing to change yourself as the top person, and if you think that everything is fine and you don't have room for growth, then you're not going to be able to sustain the company.
So then what happened? I'm curious.
Well,
to this guy, at the end of the...
He just refused. He just refused to accept that, and we said, sorry, we cannot continue working based on, these are results. If you don't accept the facts, then how are you going to cultivate a culture of inclusion? Because you're not including their opinions.
You know, this is very interesting. And I think I do really want to empathize with you as a woman, a strong woman, and which I truly admire. And I'm not I don't want to please you.
Thank you.
It's not about that. But I genuinely, because I mean, the team, even the people working here, they know who I choose and why I choose certain type of people. But I truly want to empathize with you in the fact that it's very complicated for a woman still in 2025 co-working with certain type of male attitude, let's say. And I believe it's also because, you know, the brain of a woman is framed in a different way compared to, there is still a lot of barriers, a lot of worlds.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, there is, absolutely.
How do you take that? Tell me your opinion about this. I'm sure that you are, yes, a strong, straightforward, and very self-confident, because I can see that. but at the same time, you are soft, you are caring, you're kind. And how does this impact Hanan's life?
You see, it's trying to keep a balance. I strive for balance, not perfection. And when you say kind and soft, I think now we need to look at those as strengths, because before we used to think about them as weaknesses. And I remember a couple of years on March 8th, the post that I chose to post on the day of International Women's Day is, "I am a woman. What's your superpower?" That was the question. I just posted that. So being a woman is actually, you have to think about it as a superpower. And the minute I stopped, you see, I grew out of, that's why I told you people used to label me as I work with women, which is fine, something I'm proud of. I still work with women and girls and all of that. But, and this is what I suggest and advise everyone, let's stop using this woman, this female, this female, that. I'm done with it. I always talk about, we don't say female, we don't say male entrepreneur. Why are we saying female entrepreneurs? We don't say pop or dadpreneur. Why are we saying mompreneurs? And all of these, yes, we are, because we want to bridge the gap. We want to shed the light and the spotlight on women, but that keeps us as a minority. The more we say that, the more it keeps us that we are a small group, we're a minority, so we're calling ourselves female this, female that, women this, women that. So I started by, and this is what I suggest to younger women, stop thinking about yourself as a woman. You're an individual who's talented, who happens to be female, but don't let that drive everything else, because the minute we start thinking, we start whenever something happens, this happens because I'm a woman, because we will start thinking about that. So the minute I say, no, I'm just a human being. I have my own skills, I have my own talents, and I have my personal needs that happen to be personal and specific because I'm a woman. But don't let that title or the hat of female drive everything else.
You're saying that basically, if I say correctly, saying I'm a woman or I'm a mompreneur or a man, whatever, creates distance. This label creates distance between, instead of collaborating, you say, let me state the obvious.
I think so. Exactly. I think, yes, you want to talk about your own, but I'm just comparing. Like, men don't do that. They just go boldly and do what they have to do. They don't say, so we want to start moving a little bit away from this, I'm female this, I'm female that. I'm just an entrepreneur. I'm a Chia. I'm a consultant. I'm Hanane. I own this business. And this is what I do. And my name is Hanan, and obviously I'm a woman, but I don't have to say, and I am a woman. So what am I trying to say? Treat me differently? I don't,
Otherwise, it would just try to prove yourself, which is absolutely not your intention.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I work a lot with the managers, executives at different levels, and it doesn't matter if they're men or women, but they have they have a strong personality, and it's evident that they have reached some solid success, but this solid success is also their negative side, that negative, let's say, this downside, because they rely so much on this that if they lose control, it happens exactly what happened to your client, saying, okay, it cannot be.
Yes.
So what I'm trying to, and it's not teaching, because thank God,
exactly.
I didn't approach teaching. I try to look at the person as a human being, and that he is building walls.
Yes.
Because when we defend, me included, when we defend ourselves, we build walls. And I try to, recuperate this dialogue, which is sometimes very complicated when we talk about people with strong ego, which are people who don't want to lose control.
Yes, absolutely. I think, yes, it's losing control is the biggest barrier to personal growth. Not wanting to lose control is the biggest barrier. And that's when I do executive coaching with leaders, or even with teams, because I prefer to work with teams, because I feel like you can have the best individual people, but if they cannot work together, then we haven't achieved anything. That's why I believe more in doing what I call team coaching, which is like putting them at the table, let them beat each other with conflict, and then together find ways to work collectively. So, and that's one question I always throw to the table. What are you willing to let go of? Because we come to classes and we come to events and we come to learning sessions, and we're just wanting to have more and have more. But you cannot fill an overflowing cup, and unless you make space and you let go of the old. And especially when it's C-level, I ask this question and you feel that hesitation because they just feel like, I don't think I need to let go of anything. And that's what it tells you who is self-aware, who is not. So if somebody hesitates to answer that question or doesn't want, hesitate is fine, then I invite them to look inward. I invite them to look at what could be in the way of their growth, what could be in the way of making them the best leader that everybody will anonymously rate as the best leader, for example. And then some of them are willing to say, well, yeah, maybe I need to let go of wanting to control more. Maybe I need to let go of anger. Maybe I need to let go of impatience. But the ones that are like, no, I'm fine, then those are the problems.
100%.
Yeah.
And how difficult it is to do this without having a coaching intervention. This should be done.
Yes.
You should be able to do it internally.
Yes.
But, okay, my question is, there is a certain number to reach. There is a certain budget to exceed.
Mm-hmm.
What is the impact in every single employee's brain when you know that you have a number to reach, but what is the impact in terms of thinking, in terms of reflecting, of your rights, of what you think it's important to do, when you are only busy to ride as a horse?
That needs to change. That needs to change. And it needs to be, and that's why I talk about culture. If we have this culture of performance, yes, we can achieve, but it's the how. The target is just a goal, but how do we achieve that goal? How do we equip our people to reach that goal where they're maybe exceed the goal when they're happy? Do we give them enough space to suggest maybe different ways of achieving that goal? Yes, the goal is non-negotiable. We know that we need a target. We have a target to achieve, but it's how do we reach there? That's what matters. That's what leaders need to make sure that they are equipping everyone. They are walking the talk themselves. They are role modeling that and making everybody feel valued for their contribution. Because yes, I'm going to make you reach that target, but I need to feel trusted. I need to feel valued, and I need to feel that I'm supported. So these are the three words. Do you make them feel valued? Do you make them feel trusted that they can do it? And do you equip them, support them so that they can do that? So these are the three questions that every leader needs to ask themselves. Am I doing enough to value, trust, and equip and support?
Maybe we can also add the one provocative question. How can you make them feel value if you only throw a couple of team buildings where they have amazing dinner together and then they're still underpaid, or they're still paid 1/10 of your salary?
Yes, or if you tell them, we listen to ideas, and you have this box where people throw in their ideas, but none of them has ever been taken care of. This is exactly what I aspire to fix. It's about building that culture. It's not about events. It's about the day-to-day. Do you have that day-to-day where people really feel valued just because weekly you acknowledge one person? You say, I want to acknowledge Lucia for being smiley this whole week, for taking this initiative, for bringing coffee, whatever it is. Doesn't have to be, this is what I mean by human. Who are we? We have emotions. It's the small things that, we call them micro messages, but those micro messages can accumulate negatively or positively to make somebody feel, I'm noticed, I'm seen, I'm heard. That's what makes us human. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. We don't want to be seen as a number who's just contributing. And this is not soft stuff. Trust me, this is exactly what matters. And that's what makes a difference. between one leader and another.
And all of this is in the book.
Yes.
So
seeds of change. So it's really about how do we plant the seeds of change. And as I said, SEEDS is an acronym, is a framework that I work with. It's sense, engage, empower, develop, and sustain.
You can find it on Amazon. Have it. Is it mine now?
It's yours. Yeah, I'm gonna sign it for you. Yeah, I brought it for you. Yes, absolutely. It's really about building human-centric organizations. There's a whole chapter on that.
You know, it's amazing to listen to these words because it's very profound what you do. Very profound, very very articulated, very I don't know. I don't think you take for granted what you do.
No, I don't. And now I found a new way how to say it because I keep evolving. So I used to say humanized business. I still say that. But I was having an interview with somebody and this came up. I aspire to bring soul to business because it's soulless.
It says everything.
Yeah, that's it. So now I feel this is exactly what I'm doing. I keep thinking, what is it that I'm doing? What is the core of it? And this is it. Now this is my new expression. I aspire to bring soul to business.
Hanan, we can talk like...
I know, for hours.
Yes. But for sure, I think we will have another conversation, another interesting conversation, maybe more specific towards, you know, team coaching. And because I believe that many companies are still in 2025 are not aware of the power of certain type of method, because team coaching, it depends of course what kind of coaching. My method is different compared to yours, absolutely. But it's all about how we want to bring up change.
Yes, exactly. You know? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's really how you want to bring change, and change that is sustainable as well, that lasting. That's what matters. Because having an event and bringing somebody for a workshop or two, and like, okay, we have to do it because we don't have time. People have work and they have to meet. I remember one client once, they want me to do a session for their regional managers. They were meeting all in Dubai. And they said, well, some of them haven't met. Some people hired others when it was COVID and they've been working remotely. And this is the first time they're going to see each other. So we want to have a session of diversity, inclusion, happiness, working together. I said, that's amazing. Great. We can do 1, 2, 3. Oh, no, but we only have 2 hours because they have business meeting. I'm like, no, thank you very much. You can find another one. I swear to God, I said that. I said, I cannot, because it'll be... I don't do work just to invoice.
You see, there is a lot of ignorance still.
This is a big brand as well. I couldn't believe it. Like, how?
You know what? If I might share this with you, my challenge, and of course it's an opportunity of growth, is the fact that I need to combine my skills as a coach with skills as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
But I'm not an entrepreneur. I want to be a coach.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So
I think, we need to close this. But guys, probably very soon we're going to have another interesting conversation about, how to combine the fact that if we are a freelancer or, we are starting up our own business, how do we combine the service that we deliver with the business development that is all behind it? So stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe. As always, I always stress this point. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Really. I enjoyed it so much. It just flowed. Thanks a lot.
Exactly. Yes. Just 1 hour. It's nothing. Thank you.
Yay!
Oh, I didn't. You know why I did not prepare with her? Because she's boom.
Oh.
Like, you don't need to. Did I watch this? Did I look at that?
And I was also like, I'm like talking.